Coming up on Wavelength, a sewage treatment plant at Camp Swift comes back to life. Area law enforcement agencies crack down on boating while intoxicated, and Pat Freeze takes a look back at the David Freeman years at LCRA. All of that and more next on Wavelength.
From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Hi everybody and welcome to Wavelength. Septic tanks are widely used in rural counties along the Colorado River and are often contributors to water quality problems. But as Richard Gaylord reports, in Bastrop County, LCRA has taken a major step to address the problem.
LCRA entered a new era this month when the board approved funds to construct a regional wastewater treatment facility in central Bastrop County. Now, the plant will serve the needs of the federal prison in Bastrop, the Texas National Guard, and homes and businesses in the Camp Swift area.
I consider the announcement of this wastewater facility in Bastrop one of the most significant water quality acts that has happened in the last 20 or more years. The quality of water is of paramount interest now to everybody up and down the Colorado watershed. The Lower Colorado River Authority has taken the lead now to advance this project. And I commend Jim Garrison and Mark Rose and all those with the authority for bringing the groups together.
Camp Swift was the site of a U.S. Army base and prisoner of war camp during World War II. This sewage treatment system served some 90,000 troops with 4 million gallons a day of capacity. After the war, the Army abandoned the base and the treatment system. Subsequent development in the area has led to illegal connections to the old system. The result, raw sewage contaminating Piney Creek and the Colorado River.
On an immediate basis, it fixes the old Camp Swift problem and has 3 entities working together, which has tremendous long-range implications, because the goal should be regional facilities being developed instead of everybody building their own small packaged sewage treatment plant, operating it on their own, and having their own discharge point.
The federal prison currently discharges 160,000 gallons of effluent a day into Piney Creek. But when they hook up to the new plant, that will no longer be the case.
We proposed a no-discharge system. All of the effluent from the system would be used for irrigation on cropland. And whether we operate that farm or whether we contract that out to some operator is to be determined in the future. It'll simply be an economic decision. If we can do it cheaper than someone else, we will. If not, we'll contract it out.
Poppy says construction should begin on the regional plant next March, and he hopes it will be operational in early 1992. Going into the summer months with Lake Travis and Lake Buchanan full is a real treat for all of the water enthusiasts of Central Texas. But only a few weeks ago, we were looking at the 3rd year in a row of below normal inflows into the lakes, and we're facing possible historical low lake levels. This was Lake Buchanan in late February. It had dropped to a level of 1,007 feet above mean sea level. On Wednesday, April 25th, 13 to 16 inches of rain fell in the upper Colorado River watershed near Brownwood, and 2 days later, the floodwaters began to flow into Lake Buchanan. As it became evident that Lake Buchanan would fill to capacity, flood releases were initiated in accordance with a schedule developed by the Water Resources Department. By Monday, April 30th, 4 floodgates were open on Buchanan Dam for the first time since 1974. The lake had reached its maximum level of 1,020.25 feet. The uncontrolled spillway elevation is 1,020.35. The floodwaters were being passed from Buchanan through Inks, Wirtz, and Starkey dams into Lake Travis. Then on Wednesday night, May 2nd, 4 to 6 inches of rain fell on the watersheds of the Llano and Pedernales rivers. causing them to rise to their highest levels in 10 years. As a result, 3 floodgates at Wirtz Dam and all 10 gates at Starkey Dam had to be opened at the peak of this rain event. Floodgates at Buchanan were closed to allow the flow from the Llano River to pass Kingsland, then were reopened to maintain a level of 1018 at Buchanan in accordance with our operating agreement with FEMA. By Monday, May 7th, Lake Travis was at 681, which is up 23 feet from its level before the rains began.
The base flow of the stream really doesn't fill and refill the reservoirs. It's the storm flows or the flood flows that recharge the reservoirs. And people lose sight of that fact, and I think the river itself, its normal flow is adequate amount to provide the volumes necessary to meet our demands. And the base flow of the river simply isn't adequate, and it takes those flood flows to refill the storage after we've gone through a long sustained period of high demand and high use without any heavy rains and recharge.
It is estimated that 550,000 acre-feet of water flowed into our river system during these rain events, 400,000 acre-feet from the upper Colorado, and the remaining 150,000 from the Llano and Pedernales rivers.
The Memorial Day weekend is traditionally one of the busiest and most dangerous periods on area lakes. It's also the time when LCRA and other agencies beef up patrols searching for intoxicated boaters before they cause an accident.
Last year we leaned heavily into the education phase. This year we're leaning heavier toward the enforcement phase.
The new Get Tough campaign has received extensive media attention and will be publicized on billboards along the Highland Lakes. And it already seems to be working, since there were no boating fatalities or BWI citations issued over the entire Memorial Day weekend.
Lake Bastrop will soon be the home of a $3 million training facility for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. The facility will be built in LCRA's North Shore Park. Under the agreement, Parks and Wildlife will lease 785 acres from LCRA to build a world-class training and conservation center. In addition, TPWD will spend another $2 million to upgrade the South Shore Park. According to Parks Chairman Chuck Nash, the improvements will include a boat ramp, fishing pier, picnic areas, screened shelters, and more.
You know, this is going to be really what I consider 3 great things are going to happen at Lake Bastrop. One is we're going to have another tremendous state park that'll certainly accomplish the 2 that we already have there now. We'll have probably, I think, when it's all done, the best trophy fishing lake in the state of Texas. We will have by far the most outstanding in the world training assembly for game wardens as well as future conservationists and meeting opportunities.
Another unique element to the facility is that it was designed by architecture students from Rice University. Construction of the park and facilities will begin next March.
This meeting between the LCRA Rangers and representatives from our wholesale customers is a first step in a plan to combat theft and property damage at substations and remote storage facilities throughout the LCRA service area.
Originally, it was considered a kind of a nuisance because they were stealing just a few tools or maybe once in a while a vehicle, and lately it's gotten into where they're taking wire, copper wire, and aluminum, and this presents a safety factor that we're very concerned with, not only us but all of our wholesale customers.
LCRA will act as a clearinghouse for information about these crimes to alert other law enforcement agencies and our customers of a problem in their area.
Students from Austin High, the Science Academy at LBJ, and 3 elementary schools made field trips to the LCRA exhibit area that was set up for the Tom Miller Dam celebration. This exhibit represents a tremendous amount of work by a number of departments at LCRA, but those who participated said the results were well worth the effort. The field trips were topped off by a tour of Tom Miller Dam and the powerhouse.
The LCRA Credit Union serves over 2,000 members with low-cost loans, credit cards, and other banking needs. Last month, the credit union hit an all-time record of $7 million in assets, a milestone that is allowing the operation to branch out.
In addition, we've just gotten approval this past year for the expansion of our field of membership to include the wholesale customer employees. So this summer we'll be going out and be soliciting their membership from all the cities and cooperatives.
Krennic says credit union services should be available to wholesale customers by the end of the summer.
He's been called a liberal, an environmentalist, an antagonist, and most anything else you can think of in his 4 years with LCRA. I'm speaking, of course, of Dave Freeman, who by now is well on his way to solving the problems at the Sacramento Municipal Utility District in California. This month's profile takes a look back on the legacy of Dave Freeman. He came to LCRA in 1986 after a nationwide search. At the time, LCRA was being investigated for ethics violations. There was poor employee morale, and there were tough decisions to be made on Cummins Creek, rates, and the Decker Coal lawsuit. He dealt with all of them, not always to the liking of everyone, but in time they proved to be good decisions. And whether people liked Dave Freeman or not, they usually respected him. Looking back on the years, Freeman says it's his accomplishments with the water program that are his proudest.
There wasn't much of a water program when I got here. We're now one of the big players in water quality and a leader in managing our river. So I think if there's a lasting accomplishment, it's probably on the water side of the house.
His departure from the agency was festive. There were parties and gifts. A white cowboy hat to replace the black one, a Grow For It plaque, and a key to the city of Austin. And people took time to look back on the impact Dave Freeman had on their lives.
We've experienced your skills at negotiation. We've experienced your vision. We've experienced your wonderful management style. And we have also experienced your frankness and your unpredictability.
But as the parties honoring Dave continued, it was plain to see that not all of the reminiscing would be serious. What do you think will be the thing you miss most about Dave Freeman?
Well, I can't speak for myself on that, but I know my wife will miss his mustache.
Now, honestly, look right in here and say what it is you've always wanted to say to Dave.
Yeah. Bleep, 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 bleep.
David, I really don't have anything good to say. Our relationship is going to be ended pretty soon. I know I'm happy and I can see you smiling.
But the ribbing went both ways, with Freeman getting even during the reading of his last will and testament.
To Walter Reed, I leave a recorded message to go off after he's spoken for 5 minutes on any item, saying, Walter, we know all the options, but what's your recommendation? To Mark Rose, I leave my car, thank you, my job and my phone number.
Oh, that is a nose, Linda. But rest assured that Dave Freeman will still be with us. Thanks, of course, to our own Joe Irvin, who leaves us with his own farewell to Dave Freeman.
Phone hasn't rung all day.
Well, okay, thank you very much. I guess I better get in here and get to business. Okay, now here's how I'm going to decide this year's budget. If I make this, we got a budget. If I don't, we're in big trouble. Whoop. Oh my God. We're in big trouble. Where's my husband? Okay, let's see. Jerry? Yeah, Jerry Tucker? Uh-huh. Well, this is David Freeman. Uh-huh. Jerry, would you pull Joe Irvin's file, please? Well, just pull it, please. I don't, just pull his file for me. You got it? Okay. Jerry, I'd like to make Joe Irvin a P&M 30. That laughter like busted my eardrum. Well, I realize it's 29 steps higher than he is, but I'm going to be leaving, you know. Oh, you didn't know? Well, yes, I'm leaving. And I want to make Joe like assistant deputy general manager. Yeah. Yeah, Mark's going to need all the help. Excuse me? With Joe around, he'll need help. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, Jerry, if you'll take care of it, I appreciate it. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Well, I tell you one thing. I'm really going to miss this place. Yeah, all the budgets and all the hell the customers raise, and working with the board and the employees. And it might work out. California, where is? Oh, there it is. No, it's not too bad. Not too far from Texas.
I'm going to leave a few recorded messages that I'm going to expect that to be played at a particular time, and when a staff member screws up, you know, you can play that message, and at other appropriate times, and so between my recorded messages and Joe's impersonations, perhaps the ghost of Dave will linger on and on and on and on.
That's it for this edition of Wavelength. Thanks a lot for being with us. We'll see you next time.